Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today I'm going to take down this monstrous hackberry tree. The decision to leave it or take it down has been a topic of conversation on the channel for the last week, and I've decided it's coming down. Now, this thing is enormous. I've parked the skid loader up there under it just as a size reference, and really it's not one tree. It kind of looks like four, but I guess I would say it's two trees that have the roots grown together at the bottom. Anyway, I'll kind of tell all of that as we go along. Right now, let's go up and get an up-close look at the tree. The base of the stump where I'll be grinding, because I'm planning to grind this stump out, that the grind area is going to be 12 to 14 foot. What you basically got is up at chest height, this is like a 3-foot diameter tree. Down in the grind area, it's 4 foot or more. And then this side's even bigger because it's multiple trees grown together. And at the base, this is all one tree. So I'm gonna go get my gear and get the saw warmed up. Then we'll take a look at my strategy on this tree. Okay, I'm gonna start with this side here. This piece is the most separate from all the sections, so I can take it out for sure without affecting what I have left on the other side. I think I'm gonna cut this up high, and then I'll have to come back later and cut it down. But up here at chest height, it's about 40 inches at chest height. If I tried to cut it down low, you're talking about something that is, at least 50 inches, and makes it a more difficult cut for an amateur like myself. So I'm gonna cut it up here so that not only do I have better control of my cut, but I also have better mobility if it tries to do anything I don't want it to. Let's come around to the other side and look at the weight. Now, this is a really heavy tree. I'd say straight up and down is here. We're leaned like this, and then every single limb is coming off in that direction. Because with these trees crowded close together, no branches grew towards the middle, basically. So, what does that mean for me cutting it down? That means that I'll have no need for wedges, because this already wants to go that way pretty hard. So anytime it's already trying to go, you're not trying to wedge it over, you're trying to prevent it from going before you're ready. So this looks like, to me, I'll be using a bore cut. I don't think I'm gonna do bore cut first. I'm gonna make my face cut, then I'm gonna put a bore cut in it, work back, leave a trigger, and send it. Ideally, you've got two sets of eyes, but I've got two guys up in the shop with walkie-talkies if I have an issue. I'm gonna get some comments from some arborists and some loggers telling me that I don't know what I'm doing and that I'm an amateur, and you are 100% accurate. I'm just a homeowner, and even though I take felling pretty seriously and I enjoy it, I'm just learning and doing the best I can. So that was something that I kind of noticed at the last minute. So I'm cutting from the middle back, and I want to leave a trigger right here. Where my trigger was setting was on a little outcropping or a deformity in the tree. So that didn't have the same strength that a regular trigger would have. So all I had left was this much, but it wasn't in a perfect spot to have that trigger at. I was gonna go around and just snip that and the same thing would have happened. But anyway, first section's down, let's move on. I know this is just common knowledge, but that's why it's so important that this cut is higher than that one, because when that hit, it looks like it probably would have pushed back if it hadn't been cut that way. I'm gonna take a look around the tree. I'm looking right now at my plan to get the rest of the trunk down. Probably going to be to trim off the smaller stuff. Then I might be pulling it off that way with the skid loader. Just have to wait and see, give it some thought. To me, I've always said this part is more dangerous than cutting it down. This would have been a good time to use a technique that I've seen in a lot of other videos, but I've never really heard explained. And that is when you've got the little areas jutting out towards the roots at the bottom of a tree. Some guys will make a vertical cut down and then come across the bottom and basically remove those little root flares, I guess is what they're called. If I had cut that little flare off, then I could have more clearly defined where to stop my cut and left a clean trigger. That's exactly what learning from experience looks like. I've seen it, but now I know exactly when to apply it. Okay, next, on this big one, I think I'm going to snip this section right here off. It's completely dead at the top. It's not as heavy. Leaning out that way, I'm going to take a notch out the front, cut it from here, and drop that little piece. The back side of that was rotten where it was grown into the other tree. I knew there was no way that was gonna wait for me to finish the cut. It was gonna go early. So I started a bore cut and just worked it back. I heard that first crack, came down good. That's how I thought that was going to go. I wanna see if I can knock this piece off of the stump before starting on the last one. At this point, I have not done anything to weaken this last section. It's completely intact like it was when I started the day. And I thought I had a good plan for it. But the more I looked at it, the more I started to see something I didn't like. Basically, now that the other sections are gone, it gives a little bit different perspective on what's left. Okay, I was about to sink my saw into this. I decided to step back and look at it again. I do that every time. Before I start actually making my cut, I step back and say, was what I looked at earlier the best way to do it? And in this case, it wasn't. I've got a problem. Let's go over where you've got a better view of it. Okay, hopefully you can make this out from here, but this is straight up and down. We've got one branch coming off this way, but it's completely separate and it's smaller. Then way up high, I think I have to scan up a little. All of this weight right here is coming off this way. And I've kind of been studying it, and we've got some light gusty wind going that way. If I fell this straight, just make my notch on this side, even if I try to aim it that way a little with wedges, I think there's a pretty good chance that it comes down and hits the building. I see two ways I can do this. The first option, I could take this lower limb off that leans that way, take it off separately, and then try to shoot the whole thing that way. I don't really think I want to do that because it requires me to get up off the ground to make the cut. Second option is to fell it the way I was already planning to, but tie it off to the skid loader up this hill and give it a little bit of a pull that direction. And I think that'll do the job, but I'm not doing it today because I'm not set up for it. So today I thought this video was going to be taking this whole thing down, and then I was going to get this main section pushed off the road away from the building, but I'm just going to call it. I'm going to set up my plan, get my rigging, get some really big rope or cable, probably get a heavy duty rope, and get this thing tied off, and we'll come back and finish that section that's left on another day. I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. Put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.